All right, here we go. We'll get through the first part really quickly because you are all substitution and elimination masters. So here we go. 2x plus 3y equals -1 and x plus y equals 0. Here we go. Directions say substitution. So what do we do if we're substituting? Well, we're going to plug something in, but first we have to get a letter by itself. And it really doesn't matter in this case. Both of these are easy, so I'll just say x equals -y. Is that okay? And then I'm going to take this and plug it in for x. So 2 times -y plus 3y equals -1. Remember, substitution requires you to get one letter by itself and then plug that letter in to the other equation. Okay, and now we'll do our math. So -2y plus 3y. So it looks like y is -1. And then what do? Plug it back in wherever I want. It makes no difference. Plug it back in. If I plug it back in here, it says x equals -1, so I guess x equals 1. If you plug it in here, x plus -1 is 0, so x would be 1. Doesn't matter where you plug it in. And then how do we write our answer? 1, -1. Okay, so substitution, we're all masters. All right, elimination. How does this work? What am I going to do here? I heard somebody say multiply the bottom by -3. If I do that, let's see what happens. I have -9x minus 3y equals 15. Is that a good thing right there? That's a great thing. That's called elimination. So multiplying the bottom all the way across by -3 was a great idea. So -7x equals 7. Adding. So x equals -1. Now what? Plug it in, just like before. Plug it in wherever you want. So I'll just plug it in the top equation. So 2 times -1 plus 3y equals -8. So -2 plus 3y equals -8. Add 2, 3y equals -6. So y is -2? Yeah. And then how do we write our answer? Exactly, -1, -2. Always x, comma, y. All right, hopefully that's easy for you guys. You've done that since you were like freshmen. Now, Kramers Rule is new to us. So let's make sure we're all clear on that. We had a quiz over it. Some of you did really well, some of you not so well. What do I do if I'm solving this system using, I think that's a 1, using Kramers Rule? Okay, exactly, but first I have to do something else. First, I have to find the original determinant, because why? What do I use that for? That's the denominator. You're going to get an answer just like this, you guys. You're going to get an answer that's x comma y. But this guy is going to be the denominator of those fractions. So what is this determinant? 10 minus negative 3. Did you get 13? So these two answers, your x and your y, are something over 13. So how do we find the something? Well, this is what you were talking about, Creighton. You make two more determinants. If you missed this on your quiz, please pay attention. To do the x, this guy right here, to do him, you take the 7 and the 1 and put them in the x column. These don't change. The y's stay the same. So this is 35 minus negative 1. I got 36. That is my x. Top numerator. Now, to do y, same thing, only the 7 and the 1 go in the y column. And the x's don't change, 2, 3. So that one is 2 minus 21, negative 19. There we go. Does anybody have a question about page 1? Okay, remember, this is exactly how your test looks. It has these same pages. They might be in a different order, but you're going to be doing exactly the same things. All right, so number 4 is a whole bunch of matrix operations. Okay, so the first one says take matrix A and multiply it by matrix D. Now, before you start, let's make sure we can even do it. 2 by 3. Please get the dimensions right. That's a 2 by 3. What's this one? 3 by 3. Oh, yeah. Can we multiply? Yes, because these match. And not only that, but we can see that our answer will be another 2 by 3. Okay? All right, how do we do this? How do we multiply?
First 2.
So this number right here is what I'm shooting for. He is in the first row and the first column. Right? So the first row of numbers, I'm going to go ahead and write them down. The first row of numbers are 1, 2, negative 1. And the first column is 1, 3, 0. So I multiply all those pairs and add them up. So it looks like that first number is 7. 1 plus 6 plus 0. Now, this spot, what's he? Well, he's in the first row, but the second column? So I'm going to keep my 1, 2, and negative 1. That's the first row. But now I'm going to multiply it by 2, 2, 1. Remember, you multiply each pair and then add them up. So it looks like there I get what? 2 plus 4 is 6, minus 1, 5. Write down whatever you need to write down. finally, this guy right here, where's he? Well, he's still in the first row, but now he's in the third column. So I'll start with my 1, 2, negative 1 again. That's my first row. And then I'll write negative 1, 1, 2. Multiply each pair. So negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Minus 2 is negative 1. Now what? Now I'm down here. So now what am I going to do? Same thing, only I'm going to use this set of numbers. Okay, go ahead. Do it. You need to be able to do this on your own. See if you can find that second row of numbers. Huh, that's weird. I don't know if that's right or not. Did anyone else get 9, 10, 11? Did anybody not get 9, 10, or 11? Do I need to redo any of those? Schubert, you get those?
The last one I got negative 1.
Okay, there you go. That's what you need to ask. Don't just sit there and stare at me. That's what you need to ask. So we're gonna check this guy right here. We don't know that he's the right number. All right? So he's in the second row, so I'm gonna write down my second row of numbers. And then he's in the last column. Now that's 0 plus 3 plus 8.
I mixed up the 3 and the 0.
Okay. We all good? Okay. Problem B. C plus 2A. Now wait a minute. What about that? What about C plus 2A? They don't have the same dimension, so we can't do it? Agreed? Everybody okay with that? 2B minus 3C. Oh, I think I can do that one. What's 2B? Negative 2, 4, 6, 2. Is that all right with everybody? When we multiply by 2, we just multiply everything by 2. And let's do the same thing here. What's 3 times C? 3 times C will be negative 6, 6, 15, 3. You can multiply any matrix by any number. There aren't any rules for that. So you can always multiply by a number. You just multiply everything by that number. Now I gotta subtract though. And since they're the same size, I can do that. When I subtract, I do it position by position. So negative 2 minus negative 6. If you can't do that in your head, write it down. Negative 2 minus negative 6. Doesn't that make a positive 4? And then 4 minus 6. 4 minus 6.
Pardon this interruption. We have the teachers, please release all students participating in the assembly. Again, teachers, please release any students that are participating in the assembly. Thank you.
Is that any of you cheerleaders probably?
Yeah.
But you better stay, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah, I love you. All right, 6 minus 15, negative 9, and 2 minus 3, negative 1. We'll do a couple more, Madeline, then you can go.
Okay.
B inverse. It'll take them a while to get organized down there. All right, B inverse. I think we did one of these before lunch, but let's practice it just to make sure. What is the first thing I have to do? Chloe, do you remember if I am gonna find the inverse? Yep, yep, if that was a guess, it was a great guess, that's exactly what you do. You gotta find the determinant. Okay, so what is the determinant? Negative 1 minus 6, negative 7? Now what? Now I make that new matrix, that kind of random matrix that I make by switching these two. And when I switch those two, you guys, it looks like I'm changing their signs, but I'm not. I'm literally moving them. And then negative 2, negative 3. Is that all right with everybody? And then Michael, do you remember the last step? Nope. Anybody remember the last step? Divide everything by that number, negative 7. And then if things clean them up. That one doesn't, negative 1 7. This becomes positive 2 sevenths, positive 3 sevenths, and positive 1 7. And there's your inverse. Okay, quickly, 2 more. Then we're gonna have to let Madeline read. E, negative 2b. Negative 2b. Well, aren't we just gonna take negative 2 times everything in here?
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. That'll be 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 2. Easy. And then what about F? We're gonna multiply B times D. Now be careful. What's the rule for multiply? The middle dimensions have to match. Well, how big is B? What are his dimensions? 2 by 2. And D is 3 by 3. And guess what? They don't match, so that's an empty set problem? Your test will have some empty set problems on it. All right, we're gonna get through this test if we possibly can. We'll see you, Madeline. Have fun cheering. Don't drop anyone or drop yourself or anything. Flipping all around, huh? Can you wait till we go to have the assembly or is it an emergency? All right, number 5, we're gonna evaluate this determinant. We have already done this today, but we're gonna do it again. Michael, give you another shot here. Do you remember what to do with this one? Oh my gosh, Michael, we need to remember. Who can help you now? What do I do here, Kai?
Copy the first 2 lines.
Copy the first 2 columns, that's right. So 1, 0, 4, negative 1, 3, negative 2. Now when you recopy those, kids, copy them exactly. Don't be messing around with order. First one, second one. Okay? Now, Campbell, do you remember what you do now?
Oh, multiply.
Start right here, always right here, look where I am, this is where I start. So I multiply those three numbers together, and I get 9. And then I multiply these three numbers together, I get -4. And then these three actually give me a 0. So the total of all that, total means add them up, the total is 5. Now, Josh, do you remember what we do next? Other way. So we're gonna go this way, so that's gonna be a 24 and a -2 and another 0. Remember, when you multiply by 0, you get 0. So if there's any zeros in the determinant, you're probably gonna get some zeros when you multiply. So that's what, 22? Olivia, do you remember how to get the final answer?
We subtract.
Yes, we subtract. So 5 minus 22. And the final answer to the problem is -17.
Yes, lot.
Okay? Number 6. Now we've got to answer some questions. Is B a square matrix?
No.
No, why not?
It doesn't have equal rows and columns.
Doesn't have the same number of rows as columns. Everybody in agreement? All right, what is B sub 2, 3? What number is in the B sub 2, 3 spot? Someone, -2, because that means second row, third column. Does everybody see -2? Row 2, column 3? What are the dimensions of matrix B? 3 by 4. If you said 3 by 4, you are a winner. It has 3 rows and 4 columns. 3 by 4. What's a scalar? What do we mean by a scalar? A number, just a number. Yep. You can say a number in front if you want, because that's where we have seen our numbers. But basically, a scalar is just any real number. This guy right here, this -2, he's a scalar. And what's a matrix?
Array of numbers arranged in rows.
A rectangular array of numbers arranged in rows and columns. No, it's in your notes already, and it's been on every practice test. No, go back and find it. It's a rectangular array of numbers arranged in rows and columns. It's on every single practice test. It's in your notes. All right. Now, we got 2 problems left, and we'll be through the whole thing. Do we need to get the word problem going, or do we need to do the calculator problem? All right, we need to do the word problem. All right, you will have your calculator for the word problem. And it looks like some of my lines didn't come out very well. But let's at least get the chart filled in and get our constraints written. We'll see if we have time to go past that, but we'll at least get that done. All right, so here we go. Every number from the problem goes into the chart. Remember, you get points for that. That part's easy. All right, you're about to take a test that contains questions of type A, which are worth 10 points, and type B, which are worth 25 points. The value of A is 10 points, and the value of B is 25 points. You must do at least 3 A's, but not more than 12. So what does that tell me about A's? I have to do at least 3, but not more than 12. So aren't I in between 3 and 12? So my A questions, which I'll call X, or you could use A if you wanted to, have to be in between 3 and 12. Have to be at least 3, but you can't be more than 12. And can you do the same thing with your type B questions? What's that going to be?
4 and 15.
4 and 15. So your Y's are between 4 and 15. You can do no more than 20 questions. Where's the 20 go? The total number, right here. And that's it. So are we maxing or minning this time? We want to maximize, and we want to maximize our score. And how will we calculate it? In a minute, we're going to find some points, so we're going to plug them in. How will we calculate our score? 10x plus 25y. That's exactly right. When I start graphing here in a minute, I know I'm going to graph x's between 3 and 12 and y's between 4 and 15. I know I'm going to do that. What else am I going to graph? X plus y is less than or equal to 20, because 20 is the most questions I can answer. And then just for clarity here, there we go. X and y have to both be positive. I'm going to include that every time. The more you write down, the more points you get, even if some of it's wrong. All right, what do we do now? Graph it. So now we're going to graph it. If you want to bring colored pencils, that's fine with me. You certainly don't need them. I will tell you what scale to use. So on this one, I would probably just use a regular scale, but I'm going to have to expand my graph. So if you want to go by 2s, you probably could, but I'm just going to use a regular one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I know I'm going to have to go 20 in both directions. And let's not be babies. We can extend our graph. You can do that. I have complete confidence in you. Doesn't have to be fancy. Don't have to draw on all the lines and everything. Just make some hash marks, extend it out. Now, since I did my 20s, I'm going to graph this one first. Remember, to graph an equation like that, you cover up one letter, plot the other one, and then you cover up the other one, plot the other one, and then you connect them with a nice straight line, which mine won't be, but that's what you do, connect them with a nice straight line. And since I can't do more than 20, aren't I shaded under here? Now, who remembers how these guys are graphed when they only have one letter like that? Who remembers how we do that? That's an X. So, well, actually, when we only have one letter, if we have 2 letters, we cover them up. If we only have one, we just go to the x-axis, draw a line at 3 and a line at 12. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's 12. So this is 3, and this is 12. And then for y, you do exactly the same thing. So at 4, we're going to finish this graph, guys, and then we'll go 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now I haven't shaded because my board's already a mess, but we're in between the purples, in between the reds, and under the black. Doesn't it look like we're in here? Okay, we're gonna find the points and then I'll stop, but let's find the points. Okay? What's this point? Look at your graph, do not stress about it. Oops, I didn't label one. Look at your graph, don't stress about it. What's that point right there? 3, 4, perfect. How about this one? What's that one? 12, 4, yep, perfect, perfect. What about this one up here? 315, beautiful. Now, these two are harder, but they're not hard. On this black line, don't things have to add up to 20? So if I already know that this point has a y of 15, then doesn't x have to be 5? Remember, if you're on the black line, you're adding up to 20. What about this one? X is 12, so y has to be 8. Now, we don't have time to finish it, but let's talk about what do you do now? We take each of these sets of numbers and plug them in here, right? And this time, we're looking for a maximum, so whatever is the biggest is going to win, right? You actually can, Matthew, but again, I'm giving you points for everything you do, so I would prefer, in case you make a mistake, at least I'll give you partial credit for what's down there. Okay?
I mean, yeah, I listen to points, but like, since
One more point. After we plug them in and we get a value, we get a score for each point, then we gotta write a sentence. He should do this many A's and this many B's for a score of this, right? So we got through that entire practice test except for the very last problem. The very last